magnitude earthquake. We are just hoping and praying that it will just be a plan and it will not be implemented, because if it will happen, hundreds and thousands of people will die. So we cannot want it to happen. So this is the Harmonized National Contingency Plan. Now, part of the Harmonized National Contingency Plan, because there will be three regions will be affected. It's Central Luzon, the whole of Metro Manila, and Calabar Zone. So it's Region 3. This is Region 3, where BIARI is Region 3. So this will also be affected. But let's just hope that while you are here, the West Valley Fault will not move. Move later. Okay, so and then also Metro Manila and Region 4 in Calabar Zone. So we have identified assisting regional disaster risk reduction management councils. So we have the first wave, second wave, and third wave. Now, you might be asking why there are so many waves. The first wave will be the first responder. Now, if and whenever there is a need for another responders, so the second wave will be going to their assigned areas, and then the other one will be for the third wave for the next responders. Now, on November 19 to 23, we will be having the tabletop exercise in order to test the contingency plan, the harmonized contingency plan that we have developed. Now, also, we have the Metro Manila Earthquake Impact Reduction Study. Now, because this only focuses on Metro Manila, so we developed the Greater Metro Manila Earthquake Impact Reduction Study, because Metro Manila, Central Luzon, and Calabar Zone will be affected, so we might as well look also into the vulnerability of these other two regions. So, with the Greater Metro Manila Impact Reduction Study, we're able to look into the 105 action points embedded in the MMIers, and we try to look into what has been done and what needs to be done in each of the three regions. Now, another strategy that we did is the Public Service Continuity Plan. So we issued Memorandum Number 33, encouraging or instructing all the national government agencies in the Philippines to develop their Public Service Continuity Plan, so that their functionality, even whenever disaster strikes, will return in the most nearest time for them to give the services to the Filipino. Now, with regards to the Public Service Continuity Plan, we were able to develop the basic training course, the training of trainers on PSCP, and now we are in the process, together with PDRF, developing the guidebook on the development of the Public Service Continuity Plan to be given and distributed to all the national government agencies and also the local government agencies. This is another training that we're doing for the community. It's the BRM training for the basic sector. We have the 14 basic sector of NAPSI. All of this 14 basic sector all over the Philippines is now being trained on disaster risk reduction management for them to become community resilient. Now, another partnership is also not only for the community, but also for the medium, small, and micro enterprises. We have identified several action points here. So it is mainly focused on making this enterprise to become resilient even whenever there will be disasters happening in their own locality. So this is a multi-sectoral partnership that we have together with DTI and all the other agencies, also with PDRF. PDRF is one of our partners here. So we had a regional forum on DRF for the MSMEs. This being done nationwide, and also the development again of the guidebook for the MSME, so that the MSME will be having their own guidebook for them to become resilient. This is another one that we have. It's the establishment of the emergency cellular system. So this is according to Republic Act number 10639, or the Free Mobile Disaster Alert Act. So if you have seen here that we'll be having the typhoon, super typhoon U2, if and whenever it will go, enter the Philippine Area of Responsibility, it will become Super Typhoon Rosita. So we will be receiving messages from the NDRMC for the alert for the Super Typhoon Rosita. This is what is being done here. Now, this is the evacuation centers in partnership with DPWH and the local government units, is establishment of a standard or a model evacuation center in all the regions in the Philippines. Another one also that we have is development of DR advocacy campaign. We have the project DINA. This is what you should be doing before, during, and after disaster. This is a combination of all the AVPs and all the printed materials that we have. Now, when it comes to doing the best practices, of course, all the communities have their own best practices. We're giving awards to those who have the best practices. It's the Kawat Kalasa. So every year we're giving awards to communities, responders, and other institutions who have best practices when it comes to disaster risk reduction and management towards resiliency. Now again, partnership when it comes to DRM is to be given by different sectors in the government, in the private sector, academia, the media, international agency, and most of all, by the community. Because if we were having this partnership by all of these institutions or organizations, then what we'll be having, we'll be able to develop community resilience. So I think that is all for the national initiatives when it comes to community resilience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. The next speaker for community resilience strategies at the national level is a scientist. Among her positions, I just want to highlight that she is the Associate Scientist of the Department of Science and Technology, detailed in Field Box, and presently Professorial Chair of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. She is also actively involved in some programs and projects like the Regional Disaster Science and Management Capacity Development Project as project member, and the Rapid Earthquake Damage Assessment System Software, or REDAS, as program coordinator. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Leo Bautista.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just waiting for my PowerPoint loaded. Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning. Okay, so for this morning, I'm going to talk about an initiative or advocacy that we're doing at Box on the distribution of a tool to local government units, private organizations, state universities, and other groups on how they can do their own impact assessment. Okay? So my title is Developing Natural Hazard Resilient Philippine Communities through the use of a locally developed impact simulation tool, which we call REDAS. So this will be the outline of my presentation, just to set the context of this lecture. I'll start with the geographic setting, the history of the software, which we call REDAS, the methodology, the sample results, I'll show some sample results, and the method of software distribution and the road ahead. Okay, so our country is, as most of you, except of course our guest, is located in an area prone to many hazards. It ranks third in the World Global Risk Index as of 2018. And among the hazards are tropical cyclones, which we locally call typhoons in the Philippines, floods, landslides, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and tsunami. So the software that I'm going to talk about was conceived after the earthquake in 1990. I think a lot of you were not yet born or were just babies at that time. So who remembered the 1990 earthquake? Okay, so may nagtataas. May maami naman. Okay, so probably for the young ones, your parents might have told you or mentioned this earthquake. So there was a big earthquake, maybe top 5 in the country. So, and it happened in Central Luzon, where we are right now. Okay, so there was strong ground shaking, a lot of buildings collapsed, especially in Baguio City. It was a rainy season, so there was a lot of landslides blocking the roads going to the Cordillera. And there was extensive liquefaction, and buildings were tilting and sinking, especially in the Lupan City. Okay? So, yeah, these are some of the pictures because of the ground shaking. Some schools, like in Christian colleges of the Philippines, that's in Ecija, Baguio Park Hotel, and Charles, and University of Baguio. These are some of the buildings which were affected. Okay, and these are some of the pictures of the liquefaction affected areas in the Lupan City. Some buildings tilted and sank, and this is the picture of the Carmen Bridge, and some places where the petroleum or the oil tanks rose up because of liquefaction. And it was a rainy season. All roads leading to Baguio was affected by landslide. So that scenario can happen again. These are the statements that I think we all accept, that the Philippines has been affected in the past by earthquakes and tsunami, and therefore it can happen again. So I'm going to show again the same map shown by Ma'am Susan. And this is the seismicity of our country, the Philippines. We have lots of earthquakes. Our USEC usually tells us we are blessed with earthquakes. And the map on the right shows you some of the bigger ones. And each of us has a big one, as mentioned by Ma'am Susan. So a typical situation when a large magnitude earthquake occurs, there's a breakdown of communication facilities. There's a disruption of power supply. Some areas are isolated and we can't reach them. And therefore, there's a delay of information about the affected area, which is especially needed for doing timely rescue and relief operations. So a main lesson learned for us at PVOX is the need to develop a tool that right away we can estimate the possible seismic hazard and how severe the impacts to population and other critical facilities. So REDAS, or Rapid Earthquake Damage Assessment System, is a hazard simulation software that aims to produce these maps and risk maps immediately after the occurrence of a strong and potentially damaging earthquake. It was developed in 2002 until 2004 under a DST granting project. The picture on the left shows you the opening menu of REDAS, which is a building in front of Burnham Park, the Baguio Park Hotel, which collapsed. We chose this not because it collapsed, but because around it are buildings which survived. And that is our aim, that with proper preparedness, we can make our country, our communities resilient. There's a jeepney to signify that it's a Philippine-made software. So, REDAS was developed in 2002 under a DST granting project, and since 2006 to present, we have been distributing this to our local government units. It's free, and for their use in land use planning and emergency preparedness. Once we agree to a MOA with the local government units, our support includes technology transfer, hands-on training, future upgrade, and technical support. So after that, we were convinced, why not share the software to other stakeholders? So we agreed, and now we're sharing it to civil defense officials, LGUs, rescue and medical groups, and news media. But along the way, Typhoon Haiyan came in, Ginsa-Ugon, and it's because our country is highly vulnerable, because we have rapid development and uncontrolled population growth, lack of proper land use and development plans, very lax implementation of the building codes and regulations that can reduce the risk, lack of contingency and emergency planning, lack of understanding about hazards and risks by our local government officials. So we decided and we agreed to use REDAS to educate our local government officials. So we are now coming into our second target areas, which are the policymakers and planners, for them to have a deeper understanding and appreciation of the earthquake hazards and risks, and to convince them to do serious planning and active formulation of effective disaster prevention policies. Why planners? Because they can develop land use plans that can be turned into local policies and ordinances that can make their communities safer to live in. Okay? Unlike barangay captains, mayors, governors, and even presidents, they hold planilla positions and therefore will still be there even after every election. So it's more sustainable. However, situation on the ground, some or most municipalities develop their comprehensive land use plans without knowledge of multi-hazard maps. Maybe because they don't know where to get them or they're confused. Which maps should I use? And as a result, they just hire consultants to do this CLUPs for them. So we thought that we want to assist our planners to have a tool that they can easily manipulate and has important features designed for their local needs. So what REDAS can do right now, it can simulate hazard. If you want to simulate the big one in Metro Manila, we can simulate the ground shaking, liquefaction, earthquake-induced landslide and tsunami, and there's a latest addition, the severe wind hazard as well. And then we can build exposure database for population, buildings, and other critical facilities. And then it's the only software in the Philippines that can compute for earthquake, severe wind, and flood risk. Okay. So it's a mapping software almost like a GIS. It can produce deterministic ground shaking hazard map for specific target areas, like if you want Clark or Angeles City, you can do this using REDAS. It can produce liquefaction potential and landslide potential maps. It can estimate tsunami heights, inundation, and arrival times. It can plot risk data as lines, points, and polygons. It doesn't require you to purchase any expensive GIS software. It's a limited freeware, but not yet an open source. Other capabilities of REDAS, you can sort earthquake data by parameters. The map I've shown you about the polka dots there, you can do that by yourself. You can sort earthquake data 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 400 years by yourself. You can produce seismicity maps. You can query risk data points. You can produce maps from A4 to A0 and print it's a tarpaulin. You can digitize on screen. It hosts built-in static maps of other agencies like MGB and Bautista. And more importantly, it allows you to build your own base maps on this database. So why did we do this software? Because there are two main questions. What will be the possible impacts of a particular hazard to my locality? And the second question, how many buildings will be damaged, people displaced, or even die should a particular hazard occur? And we should be able to answer these two questions, okay? So to do this, inside REDAS, we put together three things. First is the hazard. So we either do the simulation or we retrieve some of the hazard maps prepared by other agencies. Okay, like so. And then we get exposure database. Either you get this from existing database or we let we teach LGUs to develop their own exposure database. And the third will be the vulnerability or the equations. If there's going to be an intensity 7, how many % of wooden structure will be damaged? Those sorts of equations are embedded in REDAS. So these three things, hazards, vulnerability, and exposure, are already built in the REDAS software, and that allows us to compute for the impacts. Okay? So we started with earthquake, and we call our module Shake, and then we collaborated with Bautista, and now we're going into severe wind, and we're calling the module Swift. And then we collaborated with MGB, with floods, and we're calling it flow. And whenever we do the computations, we're able to compute for physical damage, fatalities and injuries, and economic loss. And the results are in Excel format, or GIS shapefile, or REDAS plot file. So it's the option of the users. So where do we get the hazards? So we get them from data government agencies, or we do them through modeling in REDAS. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is an example. I'm going to show you some example. What if there's going to be a magnitude 6.9 in Cebu province? center will be in the middle, in one of the faults, that's the star. And then we have the legend on the bottom to show you the intensity. So the greenish color will be intensity 7 to 8. And then we were able to do this using the Redis software. If there's going to be, if Typhoon Yolanda will pass through Cebu province, we're able to produce the regional wind field map using Redis, and then put it down into local wind hazard map. And then for flood, we tap the maps of MGB, and we're able to produce them like this. So that's the first ingredient. The second will be the vulnerability. As defined by UN, vulnerability are the conditions determined by physical, social, economic, and environmental factors or processes which increase the susceptibility of a community to the impacts of hazards. Usually, LGUs are more familiar with the social vulnerability or the capacity, including institutions and policies. But in REDAS, we deal more with physical vulnerability or the equations or the fragility curves. So, to develop the fragility curves, we tapped various groups like the UPC Engineering Department, and they were able to determine standard building typologies in the country. Like in the country, we have different types of buildings, and we have classified them into different criteria, like based on material, structural type, age or vintage, and number of stories. So this would look like this. So these are the different building types in the country, and we have to have this information in REDAS before we're able to compute database. And the data is per barangay level. Okay? So how do we collect all of this information per barangay? So, and then the equations would be like this. So the equations on the left will be the earthquake vulnerability. These are the equations we use for computing economic loss. And the equation or the table on the bottom will be fragility curves. And these are the equations we use for computing for physical damage. What the equations just tell us is if there's a weak shaking, then it's more probable that the damage is light. And then if it's a strong shaking, the red color, more or less the damage should be extensive or complete. So all of these equations are already embedded in REDAS. So the exposure database, elements at risk, usually we're able to plot the hazards. That's no problem. Hazards are just the phenomenon, event, occurrence that has the potential for causing injury or damage to life and property. But what's important are the elements at risk. It's important that we identify where these people reside. Okay? So elements at risk refer to elements that may be damaged or injured should a particular hazard occur. So that's the one that we have to identify in this module. So exposure refers to elements at risk, refers to both the human population and the building stock that lie within a hazard footprint. So sometimes we just refer, some workers just refer to exposure as population. That's wrong. We have to identify also the type of building where these people reside. We have to combine both. Otherwise, it's not exposure data. Okay? So a comprehensive exposure database contains information on the spatial location of people and structures, the construction information including the materials, the number of stories and the vintage, the value, how much the building costs, including the contents. Okay? So how do we count the number of buildings and the people who reside in the structures? So we employ two approaches. One is the top-down approach, and in this approach we use remote sensing data, land use mapping, census data, and assessors data. And the second approach, and the best and the better one, is the bottom-up approach, is the individual survey of building. Okay. So for the top-down approach, we employ the NSO or PSA data. It's a census data. It's good because it's nationally consistent. If the method is done like in Northern Luzon, it's the same method being done in Southern Philippines, so it's nationally consistent. But if the enumerator of the census would go to your house, they just check the basic wall and roof. They don't have a checklist for the types of building I showed earlier. They don't check if it's wood or hollow glass or concrete. They just check the wall and roof. So we have a problem. Right away, it's not something that we can easily process and compute for impacts. Okay? So we need another step to convert all of the NSO or PSA data into exposure database, which I'm going to show later. The second method is through land use mapping. And in this method, we assign building statistics in different land use types. So this is very unique method that we did only for Metro Manila. Okay? The third method is using assessors information. So each of the LGUs will have assessors information. But if you're familiar with the assessors information, we just classify buildings into 1 to 4. So it's not also the same type of buildings that I showed earlier, where the fragility curves are linked with. And sometimes assessors information just have information on those paying taxes. They don't include some of those not paying taxes. So are we going to not include those not paying taxes when we do the risk computations? And of course, the third will be do the survey individually per building. So this is the type of survey that a particular enumerator will go to each particular home. So they have a questionnaire like 1 to 9. They'll check your roof if it's 1 to 9. And then they'll check your wall, and they have a checklist. So using this different combination of wall and roof, we were able to devise a lookup table that if it's a 1-1 or galvanized iron and concrete brick stone, 35% of the time it's hollow blocks, concrete hollow blocks. And then 65% of the time it's CHP, it's concrete structure, and so on and so forth. Okay? These are and each of the exposure database will have information on the geographic information, the population and demography, the building attributes will all be included in that exposure database, okay, using NSO or PSA data. The second method is unique that we only did it for Metro Manila. It's developing exposure database through land use mapping. So together with the 17 LGUs of Metro Manila, we did the land use mapping for these different types of land use. And what we did is we infer the types of building. For example, if it's a formal settlement, then we infer what type of buildings are there. And an example will be for passive. If it's a paint-colored polygon, it will be a formal settlement, like residential. And in this type of building, type of land use, it's going to be 50% concrete structure, 30% half wood, half concrete, and 20% wood. If it's the statistics for this particular type of land use, we apply the same statistics for the rest of Metro Manila. Probably not true, right? Because there could be a different statistics for Pasay or City of Manila. But since they are not yet finished with the survey, then we have no choice. So this is the method that we use for Metro Manila. Okay? And the third will be using assessor's data. So this is an example of assessor's classification for Iloilo City. In Iloilo City, we classified buildings into type 1, 2, 3, 4. Type 1 being the strongest, and type 4 being the weakest. As you can see, it's not also same as the building types I've shown earlier. So we have a problem if you want to use right away the existing data in the universe, in the Philippines, right? And of course, the best, do the survey. So we have developed many methodologies like going around and having this type of equipment with cameras and GPS, going around different streets and taking photos. And of course, the best, right now, what we're teaching LGUs is to use Android devices because they have built-in GPS, cameras, they can access Google Maps, and they have the database is compatible with Meta.